This is part 2. In here, we will discuss the procedures and the documents that you need to prepare to make your application smooth when you apply for the SRR visa. You need to know that applying for the SRR visa can only be done here in the Philippines, not in any Philippine embassy or consulate in any countries in the world. So the principal applicant needs to come here in the Philippines under a 21-day temporary visitor's visa. The processing of the application usually takes 15 to 20 working days if you apply in the main Philippine Retirement Authority office in Makati. Now, you can also apply in their satellite offices located in Baguio City, Clark, Cebu, or Davao, but this usually takes 25 to 30 working days. If your temporary visitor's visa of 21 days expires during the processing of the SRR visa, the retiree applicant needs to have the temporary visitor's visa extended. He can either do it himself, going through the immigration for an extension, or he can pay the PRA to have the temporary visitor's visa extended. Now let's go to the documentary requirements. You can download the application form from the website of the PRA. In filing the application form, take note that it must be typewritten. And in securing your medical clearance, you can either do it in your country, which will require that it has to be translated in English if necessary and to be authenticated to a Philippine consulate or embassy where the certificate was issued. Or the retiree applicant can opt to have that medical clearance secured here in the Philippines to the accredited physicians, clinics, or hospital. The PRA may accompany the retiree applicants to their accredited clinics, so the medical clearance doesn't need to be accredited when you secure your medical clearance here in the Philippines. A police clearance is also needed, which should you secure from your country of origin or where you reside abroad. Again, it should be in English if necessary and authenticated to the nearest Philippine consulate or embassy where it was issued. An NBI clearance is also required if you stayed for 30 days from your last entry. And of course, the bank certification of the visa deposit for the SRRV option of your choice. If you're the principal applicant with dependents, the dependents visa deposit should be included in the certification of the principal applicant. And of course, your original valid passports. There are other important documents needed for your application. It depends on your option. If you are applying under SRRV Classic, where you have to prove that certification from the government or private entity where you are receiving the pension as required, like $800 a month minimum for a single principal retiree. And if you're a couple, it should be at least $1,000 a month. If you are joining under the SRRV Human Touch, a medical certificate is required where to show that you have a pre-existing condition and in need of medical and clinical care and services. Also, the certificate of your retirement benefits to show that you have at least $1,500 a month issued by the concerned government or private entity. Health insurance is a must and it must be acceptable here in the Philippines. Under the SRRB Human Touch, the principal retiree may be joined by only one dependent. It can either be the spouse or by the child. You gotta take note that a child may only remain as a dependent until the age of 34. At 35 years old, a child dependent may opt to join as principal retiree, otherwise the SRRB visa is deemed cancelled. Under the SRRB courtesy, for former Filipinos, it is necessary that you secure a birth certificate issued by the NSO or your old Philippine passport. For foreigners under the SRRB courtesy, Important is the certification by the international organization or agency that the applicant was a former officer or staff, stating your position held and the duration and date of your employment. In the SRRV expanded courtesy, please read the PRA Circular Number 12 Series of 2013 because this one covers the individuals that is included under the expanded courtesy, namely the retired ambassadors and other members of the diplomatic corps even if they have not rendered diplomatic service in the Philippines, retiree of United Nations, World Bank organizations, and IMF, International Monetary Fund, honorary consuls who have served in the Philippine diplomatic post, recipients of Nobel Prize, Ramon Magsaysay, and other prestigious awards including Oscars, Emmy, Pulitzers, and various halls of fame, scientists, physicists, and top-rated engineers, professors of US, European, Australian, Canadian, and Japanese universities. This one, retired military personnel who have provided military aid and training to the Philippine government through a defense treaty or any other similar agreement. High achievers in sports, arts, and business, Peace Corps volunteers and other similar organizations, retired officers and staff of USAID, AUSAID, and other similar assistance organizations, retired officers and staff of JETRO, COICA, MITI, and other similar trade and investment organizations, international philanthropists, foreign nationals previously working with internationally required recognized Philippine jurisdictions like our embassies, consular offices, and other government offices. To qualify under the expanded courtesy SRRV, you must be at least 50 years old with a monthly pension or other similar benefits of at least $1,000 a month, which shall be regularly remitted to the Philippines. You must be a citizen of a country where the Philippines has existing diplomatic relations, and you must be able to comply with all the documentary requirements, visa deposits, fees, and other conditions, including that certification by the concerned entity or organization of the position occupied and held by the applicant. Let's look back at the retired military personnels. The qualification needed is that you have provided military aid and training to the Philippine government via a defense treaty or any other similar agreement. So it doesn't matter what position you are in the military, as long as you have provided military aid and training to the Philippine government via a defense treaty or any other similar agreement. Now, if you read PRA Circular 16, it clarifies foreign nationals who have served in the Philippines for at least 2 years in any categories provided in the Circular 13. You will only be paying an annual fee of $10. Likewise, your spouse and dependent be charged $10 separately. But for foreign nationals who have not served in the Philippines, they will be charged the annual PRA fee of $360 every year that only covers a spouse and one minor dependent. An additional dependent will be $100 each. Foreign nationals previously working with internationally recognized areas of Philippine jurisdiction, such as embassies, consular offices, and other government agency, who have served at least 2 years, shall be construed as serving in the Philippines. Now, what will happen if the principal retiree dies? The dependent spouse may opt to become the principal retiree and the children dependent will remain as dependent as long as he is still under 35 years old. If the spouse don't want to be the principal retiree, the SRRV visa must be cancelled. And as regards to the visa deposit, the law on Philippine succession will apply. And since you're a foreign national, the Philippine Succession Law recognizes the succession law of the country of the foreign national. Now, if the country of the foreigner allows the Philippine Succession Law to take over, then the sharing of the visa deposit will be in accordance to the Filipino succession law, where it will be shared among the heirs and the liabilities of the deceased.